with Gentleman's Wick production.
Hello, class. As you may have noticed, I'm not there, but we are here, the center of America, Missouri. I'm here today to give you a little brief about Major Samuel Davis Sturgis. Let's talk a little bit about the early years. This is not going to be a fun brief, but we're going to make it great. Sturgis was born in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. You're welcome, Tyler. Good to see you. He went to the United States Military Academy at the age of 20, graduated in a very famous class with people like Stonewall Jackson and George Pickett. It's a great song, isn't it? He also, if you ever go to the town of Sturgis, South Dakota, you'll know why. And you'll remember my face. You'll remember I was in Sturgis, South Dakota. So after that, please. He was in the Mexican-American War with the 1st Dragoons, riding horses. He was on a reconnaissance and didn't do very well. He was captured for 8 days in Buena Vista. That's pretty terrible. And then he served in the West, promoted to lieutenant and captain, and he also fought in the Indian Wars. Then he was sent west to Missouri, where he found the love of his life, Jerusha Wilcox. And in 1851, they had 4 kids. One of his kids was a general. That's great. So let's get a little bit to the road to Wilson's, since we're going to go there. He was a quartermaster in the 1st Dragoons. Many of his other guys wanted to defect to the South, but he said, nope, no says I love Missouri, I'm not doing it. So he got all of his stuff, and he finally made it to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. Now, for a little bit of Wilson's Creek here, you probably know who General Lyon is, because our instructor told us about it. I didn't know who that was. I'm okay with that. After that, at 9:30 a.m., Lyon was the first general ever killed, and he was wounded twice, shot with a ball in the chest, and our man took over. And this warfighter took over till 11:30. 2 hours. Killing it. And at that time, the ammunition was running low, they had casualties increasing, and he gave the order to retire. He gave word that Siegel was going to be coming, another colonel. However, he had been diverted, and they had 1 piece of artillery left, and they didn't get there till 5 o'clock. So the Federals retreated to Springfield, and they were victorious and exhausted. So, as you know, all champions get to write history, and here's a little excerpt of history that we are going to go over. He held General Lyon in high regard. As you can see at the end here, he said he was a noble patriot and one who held his life to nothing when his country demanded it of him. After he took over, he was not informed till about a half hour after its occurrence. After Major Schofield informed him of the death of the general, he reported for orders. The responsibility rested upon him, and he felt very appreciative. His brave little army was scattered and broken. His question was, is it possible to retreat? Yes, it was. At this moment, he said, the enemy showed their true colors, and at once they commenced along their entire lines the fiercest and bloodiest engagement of the day. Lucky him. So for the first time, they maintained their line with perfect firmness, but at 11:30 o'clock, almost interrupted conflict of 6 hours, the order to retreat was given, and soon after the enemy gave way from the front and center. He said, it should be remembered that just after the order to retreat was given, and while it was undecided whether retreat should be continued or whether they should find a better position, it was noted that Colonel Siegel, one of his non-commissioned officers, said that they had been routed and that they would not have shown up for another 5 hours, and all but 1 piece of artillery would arrive in Springfield. Pardon me. Now, once they reached Little York, they met up with Lieutenant Ferrand and his company of dragoons, considerably positioned up in a considerable portion of Colonel Siegel's command with 1 piece of artillery. He estimates that the total loss and wounded for him was about 1,235, but the enemy was probably 3,000. He said, sir, I am your obedient servant, S.D. Sturgis, Major, 1st Cav, commanding. Sorry, the song gets me every time. So after that, he was the the cavalry of the Department of Ohio, Midwest. He was routed by Nathan Bedford Forrest in 1864, and that was pretty much the end of his Civil War service. Forrest Gump was named after Nathan Bedford Forrest, if you've ever wanted to know a fun fact. He was a brigadier general and major general in the U.S. Army in 1865. He decided to muster out of his volunteer service. He reverted to the regular rank of lieutenant colonel for the 6th Cavalry. In 1869, he was a colonel of 7th Cav. He was a governor for a little while in Washington. And he was a recruiter when Custer was destroyed at Little Bighorn. One of his sons was an officer in the 7th Cav as well, but he died. Here's some great references for you. This is original music by Ray Charles, and that's about it. And this is a Gentleman's Wick production, a Jack Daniels production, a Bush Reagan 84 back-to-back World War Champs production. And until next time, when you're in Texas, look behind you, because that's where the Rangers are going to be.